Actually, Hamas does not have to agree to this. That's one of the other really important things to understand. Obviously, it works better if they do, and certainly the hostages would be released sooner than otherwise. But if the international authority can be set up, if this international security force can be marshaled, then you would see someone else taking over from the Israeli army in parts of Gaza that are now secured.
Donald Trump says Hamas has 3 to 4 days to respond to his Gaza peace plan, or they'll face a very sad end, are his words. The US president's 20-point plan would see an effective end to the war, the return of remaining hostages, and the creation of what Donald Trump has called a board of peace to run the enclave. But Trump insisted Israel would be allowed to destroy Hamas if there isn't an agreement.
They can do it pretty easily. I would let them go and do what they have to do. You know, we've killed about 25,000 Hamas. So certainly they paid a big price for October 7th. And this is a whole new group. You know, they come in and they come in and they keep coming. We're going to do about 3 or 4 days. We'll see how it is. All of the Arab countries are signed up. The Muslim countries are all signed up. Israel's all signed up. We're just waiting for Hamas. And Hamas is either going to be doing it or not. And if it's not, it's going to be a very sad end.
Well, let's speak to Thomas Warrick, former senior Middle East advisor at the US State Department and now senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. Thomas, good evening to you. Thank you for being with us. I wonder what you make of the plan. There were quite a lot of dissenting voices yesterday about the absence of any Palestinian part in the Board of Peace, only a mention that the Palestinian Authority, if they reform, may have a part to play in the future of Gaza, but that isn't in the immediate. What do you think?
Well, it was actually noteworthy that there is now a path for a Palestinian state, even in President Trump's plan, but it requires PA reforms. But the reality is that the needs of the people of Gaza can't wait for Palestinian Authority reform to happen. And so the hope is there will be first a decision by Hamas. We'll see what they are willing to agree to, if anything. If not, then the Gaza International Transitional Authority will be organized. It will have troops from a number of Muslim and Arab countries and perhaps European countries as well, with the idea that they will go into the parts of Gaza that are secured and then begin working with local Palestinians to rebuild Gaza so that the Israeli forces can leave. So there's a lot in this plan. There's a lot that has to happen. And it's looking like this is more and more serious every day.
On the point of Palestinian statehood, Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, released a video statement after his conference with Trump yesterday, and he stood firm in his position that the deal would not help create a future Palestinian state next to Israel. Absolutely. Absolutely not, he said. It was a message in Hebrew. It's not written in the agreement. We said we'd strongly oppose a Palestinian state and said that Trump agreed with him that it would be a massive prize for terror. So certainly in the eyes of Israel, there is nothing in the agreement that would lean into it being a Palestinian state.
Well, that's not what paragraph 19 of the 20-point plan actually says.
Okay.
But what is very clear that Netanyahu is telling his people is that the reforms that are needed for the Palestinian Authority are not going to be achieved. He said at the press conference yesterday that they have turned down years and years of opportunities to make these reforms. And even apart from, he mentioned what the Israelis call pay to slay, what the Palestinians call payments for the families of people killed carrying out attacks against Israel. There are a number of things that do need to be fixed. You also have the problem that the PA governance is mistrusted by most Palestinians, including those in the West Bank. And so there are anti-corruption measures that need to be put into place. There are good governance issues that need to be addressed. And it's serious work for somebody. And clearly Netanyahu doesn't think that this is ever going to happen. So to him, he doesn't have to worry about a Palestinian state. It's not in the cards. But if the Palestinians can actually implement these reforms, then it's right there in paragraph 19 of the plan that Trump says Netanyahu agreed to.
Okay, well, that's interesting. 2 steps to go through. Hamas has to agree to it. And then, of course, we have to see the Palestinian Authority reform.
Actually, Hamas does not have to agree to this. That's one of the other really important things to understand. Obviously, it works better if they do. And certainly the hostages would be released sooner than otherwise. But if the international authority can be set up, if this international security force can be marshaled, then you would see someone else taking over from the Israeli army in parts of Gaza that are now secured. And that would certainly be a welcome thing for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who, at this point, really just want to get on with rebuilding their lives.
So is that within the agreement then, Thomas?
Oh, yes, that's actually what it calls for.
Because I was about to sort of say, surely one of the Israeli Prime Minister's conditions is that Hamas now has to agree to this. Donald Trump says, he'll give Hamas 3 to 4 days to accept this US brokered plan. And what you're saying is, yes, ideally, but actually that is not a deal breaker.
Well, and what President Trump is saying, and what in fact we understand today, right now, the mediators from Qatar and Egypt, and now also Turkey, are making this clear to Hamas, that this is going to be implemented whether you agree to it or not. But if you don't, then the Israeli army is going to continue to carry out military operations in Gaza, targeting Hamas fighters, but obviously with considerable destruction of any buildings that Hamas chooses to hide in. And unfortunately, we all know the civilian death toll caused by military operations in Gaza. So that's the prospect that President Trump is pointing to. Either Hamas agrees, or there will be several more months of military operations that will further degrade Hamas to the point where it will not be able to be a serious threat to international peacekeepers.
Okay, and then at that point, an international security force can then be moved into various areas of Gaza for it to be safe and secured, and then you'd see the slow withdrawal of the IDF, of the Israeli military. That's really interesting. Thank you, Thomas, for guiding us through that. A lot of missing pieces coming into play here. So what you're getting from Donald Trump at the moment, giving Hamas 3 or 4 days to accept this plan, is sort of optics. It doesn't actually matter if they don't accept it. It can still happen.
Well, it would be better for the Palestinian people and frankly better for Israelis if Hamas accepts. So let's all hope that that's the answer that we hear in a few days.
But maybe this is part of the negotiations with them, as you say, Turkey, Qatar and Egypt saying to them, look, you might as well agree to this because it's sort of the outcome, whichever way you look at it, just with more bloodshed along the way. Thomas, thank you. Great to speak to you. Thomas Warrick there, former senior Middle East advisor at the US State Department and senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. Good to have you with us.